5.
Oh, 7 Star Citizens, and welcome to Answer the Call, your weekly Star Citizen podcast talking everything about all of the things that haven't released this week. I am Croncy. This is SaltEMike. How have you been this week, Mike? How's your adventures been in the game and anything else you've been doing?
My adventures in Eve, you mean? They've been great. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, everything's been going good. I've taken the Star Citizen community's advice and playing other games.
Yep.
Yeah,
hey, it works.
That's basically it. I mean, we'll talk about it, but yeah, I just haven't been playing much SC. Checking out the patch, like each patch, just to see what's changed with the, hey, let me look at the patch notes. What does that look like? And that's really been it. And I think that's been healthy for me because it's like I'm not going to try to play a PTU for 2 months straight. I'm going to wait a little while, and when it goes live, I'll play it. So,
Yeah, like I am going to play this patch to death once it's released, but because, your progress keeps resetting every couple of days and whatnot, it's sort of hard to get the motivation to just play the PTU for fun, which obviously isn't like the idea of the PTU, but it's been so long in PTU, it's like, what else are you going to do, right?
Yeah, like where am I supposed to have fun in the old patch that I wasn't having fun in anymore, Like,
exactly, yeah. So I've been doing a similar thing. I've been playing lots of Deadlock in the last 2 days, which is very, very fun. Been very much enjoying that. And people will hate me for it, but really makes me want to have a MOBA style game mode in Arena Commander. Duncan, if we can get on top of that, that'd be great.
Wait, it's a MOBA?
It's a MOBA. It's a shoot. Yeah, it's a FPS MOBA.
Ah, okay. So it's like Overwatch and stuff, kind of.
It's like Overwatch meets Smite. I've heard a lot of people call it like Paladins, but I've never played that, so I'm not familiar.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's third person? Weird. I don't know if I would like
over
that.
the shoulder.
Yeah. I don't know if I would like that game.
Enough.
But yeah, a lot of people didn't like what happened this week. So we'll save that when we get closer to callers, because I think that's mostly what the callers are going to be discussing this week, since that's the big thing. But I guess we had two things that are interesting. We had Inside Star Citizen, which wasn't interesting from a gameplay standpoint, right? Like you're not learning, you're not going to be learning anything about the game from ISC, but it was, I hate to say, I really enjoyed it because it was kind of a trip down memory lane. The ships are Star Citizen, right? I mean, they just are. They are. Yeah. But for me, it's the fact that you get in, you get out, you walk around it. It can feel like you're home, that kind of things, right? Like the game's really important, but for now, the ships have really been the, I guess, carrying the load, right? Of what's exciting about SC, and still will always be the thing that makes Star Citizen have that potential above everything else, right? Elite Dangerous is pretty cool, but I can't walk around the inside of my ship, right? And that's kind of a big piece of that puzzle that's missing. Eve's pretty neat, but I'm not in first person walking around any of that stuff. So it was cool to see how many hundreds of millions of dollars this guy drew. Like, if you really think about it, this dude on screen made minimum $100 million. And
most profitable artist of all time, maybe? Who knows?
It's crazy. And it's a testament to how good of a job he did, right? Like, he tells the story for you in an image.
Yeah. I had not realized how much of like the aesthetics of Star Citizen has essentially been decided by this man. Yeah. And like every single ship he's done I'm always like, like the mole, the raft, whether or not like he's always been a part of, right?
Yep.
And those are my favorite aesthetics in this entire game. It's so sick. He did the Gladius, which is like, it realistically is now the like poster boy ship of the game, right? Yep. Like it used to be the Hornet. I would definitely say like, they use the Gladius a lot more often now. So it's super cool. So it was a really cool episode to watch. Yeah. The only like sort of new information we got there, other than just like a cool interview with Dev, was just some shots of the Zeus.
Yeah, which we just saw. I can scroll back a little bit so you guys can see them again.
That's the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I didn't want to
Right. Yeah.
skip too far past it, but we should see it momentarily, I think.
Yeah, so they've got a nice shot of it with like its ramp coming down in engine. I doubt it was like working well, but like the model was there and whatnot. It looks pretty sweet. But other than that, yeah, it was just kind of it definitely was like one of those sort of filler episodes that was cool information about some of the devs. And I enjoy those, but they definitely don't get me as excited as when they're showing constant new stuff. Yeah, there you go. So
that's the Zeus in game. In general, love the new RSI look of ships.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I'm a fan. I don't mind the Dorito. I think some people kind of make fun of it or whatever. I like it.
Yeah.
Again, this is it looks a lot bigger, but this is a Cutlass competitor for...
Yeah, like Cutlass Freelancer, C1, right? That sort of size.
Yeah. I will probably be a Zeus instead of a Cutlass or Freelancer user. Just given that it's newer, the interior is going to be a lot better. It looks a lot bigger. So, and I'm sure it'll have more firepower because that seems to be the trend.
Well, wait, did it? Yeah, when they announced it at CitizenCon last year, and like the on the technical specs, it's like 3 times better than any ship at the same price point. Now they did say it's because things are going to be changing with the modules and whatnot.
Yeah,
but it's hard to not feel like it's some type of power creep. I don't think it will be, but you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Case, so.
For sure. But that was that. I mean, I don't think I have anything negative to say other than it's not really, I did it. It's not really the, like the whole chat told me not to, and I still did it.
Yeah.
I think when I have the intro, I remember. When you have the intro, I'm just listening to it. Which makes no sense because it should be the other way around.
I did see a clip yesterday, Mike, of you saying that Sundays is date night with Croncy. So, I mean, I can't help it if you're that smitten.
Yeah. So yesterday, people, like everyone was like, all right, play this game this day, do this that day. And I was like, oh, well, I can't really stay on stream that long on Saturday because my wife works full time now. So she, you know, Monday through Friday, it's like we see each other for like an hour or two, and we want to make Saturdays like a day for us. And I was like, well, Sunday I can't do because I have the podcast, so I just turned it into date day with you instead. So
he's never once bought me flowers, chat.
Yeah, true. It would be hard. How would I can't deliver them in person. I don't want to do it, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything bad to say. I think people would have been mad if I think people would expect me to be like, I hated this episode or whatever, you know? But it's like, man, it was fun. Like even the episodes with the devs are fun. It's just, we don't want to hear about it all the time. You want to hear about the game more often. And then Ship Showdown was pretty funny this week, I think.
Oh, I'm so proud of the Star Citizen community this week.
Same. I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah, yes. Especially today. So Ship Showdown, as of right now today, I don't know where the votes are at. You'll be able to see it maybe, but the Terrapin is beating the 600i in the quarterfinals, so it's going to make it to the semifinals. So let's go get the 600i out of here. Yep. Love it.
Look
huge fan. So
look at the title of this Reddit thread. I'm sorry, but are we really going to let the Terrapin, $220, so the price matters, crush the 600i Explorer? This is why the Terrapin loses, is because of people like this. That's why you lose. Is because everyone knows they're entitled. The entitled fans like 600i's, 890 jumps, and all that. So everyone just wants to crush them. That's what it is. You just want to crush their dreams because they make threads like that.
Yeah. Every year, there's like this part of the community as well that like tries to vote for ships based on like the actual power of the ship, and it's just so not the point of this entire thing.
Not the point at all. Do you know what a lot of people in that thread said? I vote for the ship that doesn't have skins. If you don't,
I think there's a fair amount of people that do that.
Yeah, if you don't have a paint, I want to force them to work on it and make it have paints. So I vote for them that way. I was like, that makes sense too. So it's funny. It's funny, but that's the fun stuff from the week. And unfortunately, we got to get into the doom from the week, as many fun people have started calling it. Is the roadmap update.
Yeah.
What do you think about the progress tracker? I think it was a lot of build up for not a whole lot. What are your takes on it?
Yeah, I mean, like I never put a lot of merit into the progress tracker other than just
same.
trying to learn like hey, what are they just actively doing right now, right? It doesn't tell you much in the way of goals or progress or anything like that. It's literally just kind of this is what we're doing right this second.
Yep.
We don't know how well we're doing it, but it's how it's going. So I didn't really care too much about that.
No. And then release view, the only thing they added was the new missions, which is location repair. And there is a really important thing to point out here. Implementing new missions that introduce engineering gameplay into the persistent universe. We are not getting engineering gameplay on our ships in 4.0. Like, we're not going to have them on all the ships. You're probably not going to get it in the launch of 4.0 is what they're saying. Now, with this delay, who knows? But to me, it reads as that we are going to give it to you first in this really small-scale thing, test it out, that kind of, let's see how this works, and then we'll keep working on it. Because, it's going to take a long time to get this in all the ships. It's not... I don't know how
specifically
and to balance, and I don't know how difficult it was to get all the ships working with master modes, but that's just putting in numbers. This is art. This is animation. You know, there's like a lot of kind of things that are going on here that is more than just saying the ship flies this way. And again, I don't want to downplay the work it takes to add master modes to a ship that didn't have it, but it does seem like there's a few extra tasks with this. So to have the same expectations to do it in a shorter timeline like they did with master modes, I don't know. If
I will say I didn't read it like that when I first read it, though I am definitely interpreting it the same way you did now. The way that I thought that they were trying to say it is that it's like, here is a basic engineering thing to introduce it to the player. But no, I think you're more correct that it's probably just this will be the 4.0 implementation. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a little like it's kind of a crazy overhaul to have it on all the ships, right? So maybe we get it, maybe we don't, but it sounds like you'll see it initially at these outposts. And then 4.0 is not coming in Q3, which is, again, a surprise to no one. So no one's sitting here going surprised Pikachu face, which is a lot of the...
Q3 ends in a month.
Yeah.
Like
there's been 0 tests. Nobody is surprised Pikachu right now. Nobody is. But a lot of the arguments that people are making against people being kind of bummed out about this is like, oh, well, were you surprised? Everybody knew it. That was one argument. And it's like, no, I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed.
Yeah, of course.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I can be disappointed, right? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because like one delay can beget more delays, right?
Yeah.
So like this being pushed can also mean I think it's pushed again, or like maybe this gets pushed, which gives them leeway to say, you know, PTU by Q4 and then live by next year, sort of thing. And that is 100% disappointing. Don't love that at all.
Yeah.
Like you said, not surprised. We have not had a test for it. Like we would have had to see a test probably late last month to get sort of any like speculation about it being within Q3, but we still need all the server meshing tests. They haven't done a jump point test since they did the
EVO one
for Evocati that was like what, in March or something.
Very long. I don't even remember. It was so long ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. And then obviously there's all these missions that's supposed to be coming with 4.0 that'll need to get tested and stuff as well. Which, to be fair, I don't think, other than server meshing and jump points, I don't think all of that stuff requires as much testing as like Cargo has, but that's still months worth of work. So,
and I don't think it matters if it's not in a good state as much. Like, okay, the missions aren't great. Who cares? The only thing that none of the missions are in the game. Like the things that need to matter is the tech. The missions can get polished over time, but the tech has to kind of come in and work. Otherwise, we end up with another cargo update, right? Where we're spending forever trying to fix it just to get it to get it in a functioning state. which we're still not in yet. So
there is one argument I have heard from people that I will fight back on, which isn't really about like the being disappointed in the 4.0. Everyone is. Some people saying this means that we're going to have another CitizenCon of just Pyro. It's not going to be that. They do all the CitizenCon stuff months in advance. Too far in advance to have known what was going to happen with this patch. There still might be some Pyro stuff in there, but almost certainly it's going to be Squadron stuff. It's going to be post 4.0 features, homesteads, that sort of stuff, right? So
yes. Now, given all that, how are you going into CitizenCon? Like I think last year, I think everybody went into CitizenCon with an open mind, and I think a lot of people are going to go into CitizenCon with a closed mind because of what's happened in this past year. So yes, they're going to show things post CitizenCon. I believe they're going to show not just one star system. I believe they're going to show many star systems that they plan on working, that they intend on working on, right? and are
within the next 12 months or so.
Yeah, and then you're going to go in there and you're going to go, okay, well, like, but that doesn't, like, it doesn't mean anything, right? So the weight that CitizenCon had last year was so heavy. It was a strong show. It was a strong showing. It was a strong message. If they deliver another message, do you feel that it will reach people the way it did last year, given what happened this year? I don't think so. I don't think so.
It'll be weird because you would have to, the message would have to be insanely strong. Because I would have said what you just said, I would have said the exact same thing about last year, is that, like, because we had so many CitizenCons that were just Pyro, and it was the first live one, and so it felt weird, whatever. But then they were like, server meshing test, and that was huge. And then they were like, the Squadron video at the end, and blah, blah, blah. And to do, you would, to get the same effect, you would have to go even harder than that. And I struggle to think of many things they could do that would alleviate what's happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, okay, your core Star Citizen community is getting smaller again because people are being like, all right, I'm bored, not paying attention to this. And the people that are there are becoming more skeptical or whatever, right? And that's understandable given the situation. So people are going to go into that way. What CitizenCon will do, though, is it will open up the doors again for people on the outside to be like, what's that? Oh, that looks interesting. Oh, that's cool. So we're probably going to see some new backers. There's going to be positive things that come out of it. But will it live up to last year? I don't think there'll be another CitizenCon that will live up to last year until they start delivering on some things and the game is in a better state and people are really hyped about the experience in the game. And then it's like, I'm hyped to find out what the next experience is going to be, right? And it's hard to get hyped about what the next experience is going to be if the one that you talked about last year did not even remotely meet the expectations that you set out to deliver. So I'm going in very skeptical. I'm going in very I'll believe it when I see it, which is how I ended up. I said, all right, all this stuff is great. All the things you're saying are cool. I'll believe it when I see it. But I did not believe it would be this bad of a year. And specifically one thing only is zero tech play, like nearly zero tech play tests, and specifically play tests around 4.0 and server meshing. Very, very little on that. And that was disappointing. One of my mods for the YouTube people put up a poll that said, will Mike cry again at this con? Yeah, but it won't be happiness and it won't be empathy. It'll be just pure fucking sadness. So I probably will, but not for good reasons like last time.
I think it'll be interesting. I'll jot down a note. I think it'll be really interesting, maybe a week or two before SitCon, for us to do a year retrospective and just do all right, what actually happened this year? Compare it to some previous years, talk about it in regards to last year's CitizenCon and stuff. Yeah,
a lot happened this year and compared to previous years, though, right?
Exactly. And I feel like these last few months have just felt extra bad. So I want to, we might do that. But
I made a video on that not too long ago. I made a video on that not too long ago. It's a lot of, it was a lot of things, but it was not a lot of things that transformed the game into kind of where you were hoping it would be post CitizenCon. Again, they were talking a lot And I think if you guys have not watched, Morphologis is going to be our first caller. I said I really should have had him be like our third host or whatever today, but I didn't watch his video until this morning, and I think his video was really good, and I think you guys should really watch it. And I think he makes very good points on like, hey, yeah, we're all disappointed. We weren't expecting the world here, but what we were, what the expectations they set for us were not even remotely delivered. And it's disappointing. Yeah. So, I don't know what you want to do first. Do you want to go do the question from our community and then go to callers? Do you want to go to Morph, then go to a question? How you feeling?
I was going to say, just to sort of stretch on the 4.0 stuff,
sure.
It's just to talk about the PTU a little bit, because obviously that's been one of the things that is almost certain the reason why this is getting pushed further back, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We've been in PTU, including Evocati, for I believe almost exactly 2 months now, which is like normal-ish.
No,
it's just been a very it is. PTU for a month is pretty normal. Evocati, obviously, I don't know as much because I've only been in Evocati like super recently.
2 months is, we got to be, if we're not at the longest Evo. I think we had the longest Evo ever, the last two, and
okay, sure.
and I feel like this is Croncy, we're really behind on patches, so we have to be.
No, I understand, but a PTU for 1 month is pretty normal. If you go back through the time scales, it's pretty normal.
PTU for 1 month is normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
But regardless, yeah, we've been in PTU for 2 months. That's a long time. That was my next sentence. It has been a long time, regardless. Yeah. And this week we had a couple of patches. Blockade Runner was not working for me every time I tried to play. The hauling missions were bugging out still. Freight elevators were not working. Hangars were not opening. So still encountering all of these like really, really bad bugs that, like, while the servers felt more stable, I couldn't actually do anything. So I don't know what's going on with this. I thought last week, I think I said last week that I was expecting a live release by the end of the by like 2 days ago. And
they
just hasn't happened. So
they did too. They made an announcement that this is a live release candidate for, I believe, the Thursday or Wednesday build. And it was not. And like they had extreme instability last night. You had to hotfix to not have it, or they had to hotfix. And then on top of it, they have this entity issue that's caused, like, that bleeds out of all the instance hangers that makes the entities be really high and your frame rates really low. So there's a lot of things they still need to work out. And to say that this didn't delay 4.0 and then delay 4.0 2 weeks later is just absolutely hilarious to me, because it obviously did.
Yeah, they tend to not run tests at the same time, and so of course, like, I imagine they would be running those other tests if this was live now, right? So
I just don't get the communication side of things and why they say the things that they do sometimes. It's like, how stupid do you think we are? Like, I know I'm dumb, but I'm not this dumb. This is crazy. So that's my feelings on it. Again, do you want to, anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's pretty much it. Like,
okay.
In terms of news this week, that was kind of it. It was a boring week with just like one big piece of bad news, and then great community work on the ship Showdown. So
yeah, thank you. Good job with the turtle, guys. Good job.
Yeah.
Caller.
Yeah, we can go to Morph first, and we'll get to some questions afterwards.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Morph, can you hear us?
No, I can't hear you at all. No, I can't.
Perfect.
How you doing, Morph?
How you feeling?
Despite everything, I'm feeling fine. I mean, just generally speaking. But yeah, my thoughts on Star Citizen, I think, were well explained in the video. But I'm fully well and able to reiterate that here. But I'm not sure. Not sure what I mean. Go ahead.
I don't think you have to reiterate too much. It's like your title says it all. Like I'm losing, like, I'm getting bummed out by this stuff. I'm losing hope. This is not fun. Video games are supposed to be fun. What happened?
They definitely are, and it's been really hard to follow the project just this past year, and continue to be excited considering everything they talked about last year with CitizenCon. mean, I was there. I was feeling it. I was like, okay. I mean, you guys are talking about things don't seem super unreasonable. It's a lot to promise, but all right. I mean, we knew their past. We knew that they had promised a lot of things before and they hadn't delivered. And they said that they were conscious of that and they wanted to
Do better.
only talk about things that they thought they could get into the game, right?
Yep.
But and it seems like it's still not. They're still not able to do that. I mean, we're 2 months away from CitizenCon, which makes 12 months since they said in the next 12 months, and we don't even have 50% of what they talked about, and most of it is Squadron 42 features.
Yep.
So it just makes me lose a little bit hope that we're going to see an acceleration in development like I was hoping for. And with the lack of communication about why things have been slowing down, and why we haven't seen server meshing testing, it's a bit worrying. It's not that I think that they've got to scrap it. It's not like another PES where they're going to secretly stop talking about it, and then 2 years later they said, "Hey, by the way, that thing didn't work, so we've got a new tech for you now."
Yeah,
as we need mesh caching.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad, but look, I understand. I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't seen much of the community response to my video. I posted it and then I kind of went off and did my own thing. I'm
good
with you,
idea,
Mike.
because it's not good.
Yeah, that's just a good YouTuber practice.
Yeah,
right. Okay, so because there's a lot of stuff going on, but honestly, it's like looking at the drama. It stresses me out, and I don't need the stress in my life. Plus, I'm playing Star Wars Outlaws all this weekend, and
Hell yeah.
I can't say anything about it. I'm still under NDA, but I mean, that's been occupying my time, and I actually want to go back and play more of it. So I just haven't had time for the nonsense, but I did want to express my heartfelt feeling about the situation, because it is the news that we got this past week is actually pretty big news. The thing that kind of maybe frustrates me a little bit, though, is this like canned response that I hear every single time when we talk about delays is like, oh, you knew it was going to be delayed. All right, so should we just constantly hold them to the expectation of delay?
Yeah, what?
Like that's such a weird mindset.
Exactly. And the other thing that drives me nuts, that absolutely drives me nuts, and this was a lot of the arguments against, whatever tweet you made or whatever, right? I think it was what I had heard was about a tweet. Your video hadn't come out yet. The idea of it'll come when it's ready. It'll be ready when it's ready. But we ignore the reasons why it's not ready, as like that's how it is, and that's how it is everywhere else, and that's how it's supposed to be, and it's not. Like the reasons it's not ready is not just because game development's hard. It's just not. It's because we're making poor decisions and prioritizing things poorly. Instead of, this entire year should have been 4.0 testing. Like,
yeah, it's so weird.
It's crazy.
I have no idea. We would like to know
right now. As much as I love it, we don't need it. We need 4.0
and like I said in the
testing.
video, I'd rather be testing something as difficult to visualize as server meshing than testing moving boxes, because that to me, as a backer of Star Citizen, has me far more hooked and interested, because it's so pivotal to the future of Star Citizen. Whereas moving boxes is important, but I don't really care so much about it. We've had it now for 2 months. We've known about it for so long. It's been pushed back and pushed back. It was originally meant to be in 3.23, by the way. So I mean, it's not even really a full patch. It's a feature that got pushed out of a patch, the only patch that we had so far this year. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it one way, like I said in the video, we've only had one patch this year.
Yeah.
And we might end up only having one patch.
When 324 comes out, it's still that patch. Like it's still when you look back at what we expected what we're playing in the PTU right now to be in 323.
We did. So, and that
I will
testing
say
went
with
on
small
for
exceptions
some time too.
What do you mean?
True.
Things like the copians and whatnot were not designed to be in 323. There were a few additions to 324, but that's why I said small exceptions.
Yeah, and that's common with every patch, right? There's a few things that are not on the roadmap and whatever that you end up seeing that are always, and they tend to be the cooler things too, which is nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I want to go back a little bit to the thing about delay. I think we heard CIG say before that if you give them 4 weeks, it'll take 4 weeks, right? I mean, it's not like, and I think this Richard Tyrer actually said that, if I recall correctly. And so sure, we could say, well, we expected it probably to release after CitizenCon, blah blah, even though it was set as Q3. But then moving into Q4, I don't know why anybody would assume or think that means that it's going to be at the beginning of Q4 that we're going to get 4.0 like after CitizenCon anymore. If you guys recall back when they delayed 3.23, pushed that a little bit back, I got a lot of flack for that. In fact, I took the video down where I talked about it because them moving it back, I knew meant that we were going to get it at the end of that quarter one instead of at the beginning like they had originally said at the end of last year. And that's what's going to happen with this one. But that's not really what irks me the most. What irks me the most is just being dismissive of other people's feelings and opinions about the state of Star Citizen. Looking at it from my... And I tried to qualify what I was saying in my video with like statistics, which I would think would be undeniable. Like there's only so many ways you can interpret the statistics that I've presented, both on my video views, which granted some of it might be that, people don't want to watch my videos anymore, but I just don't see new viewership on Star Citizen videos anymore like I used to. It's primarily like 99% existing viewers.
Yes.
So it's not like nobody outside of my subscriber base is interested in watching Star Citizen content anymore.
I don't know how many people will understand what you showed, but what you showed was undeniable evidence that less people are looking, searching for stuff. Because if I've done these tests before, I don't know if you guys ever have. You ever go to somebody else's house that doesn't know what Star Citizen is, type Star Citizen into YouTube and see what comes up? It's always Morphologis and it's always Board Gamer. So if you're checking out Star Citizen and you're interested in it, you're going to see his videos, right? So if his videos are getting less views from new people, then it's very clear that there's less interest in the game. And that's all he was trying to point out. And I think that was very clear.
One quick question, Morph, because I haven't watched the video. Did you compare it to similar time periods in the past, like, few years?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually showed videos right next to each other from like 2 years ago. And you could see the viewership difference is actually massive. I had like 300K views on a video around this time 2 years ago. So it's difficult, but that's not the only evidence that I presented. I mean, I often frequent the CCU game, which collates data from the website to present it in a graphical format. You guys should check it out if you're interested. It shows funding. But the interesting thing I've noticed in the past 3 years is the downward trend of new citizens, which again is another indication of waning interest from the outside community. The fascinating thing, though, is that the funding has continued to increase, which means fewer people are spending more money, and I just can't see that as a sustainable practice. So, I don't think being dismissive of frustration and feeling disinterested in the project, I think is a self-defeating attitude towards it. I mean, if there's an issue, let's talk about the issue, and hopefully CIG will understand it and try to think of ways to better communicate what's going on, which is, I think, kind of still the core of the issue. In fact, we've always talked about Star Citizen not doing it well, CIG not doing a good job of communicating. I actually think I said it in this past video, and I'll say it here again, because I think it's important. It's not just about communicating anything. It's about communicating specific things. Like the things that are pivotal to the next step of Star Citizen that are holding the project back. I loved hearing about Gavin. Like he's amazing. His starship designs are freaking crazy. Like the Squadron 42 and Star Citizen wouldn't exist today if it were not for his ship designs. Yeah, definitely. But that kind of video right now, I'm not so sure that fits given the drought. I mean, it seems kind of aloof or it doesn't recognize the current issues, and that's what I think those games should be doing. I feel like they should be kind of shoring up community concern by addressing the pressing questions for like why things are kind of lagging a bit. Like what's taking so long, even with 3.24? Can they just talk about it a little bit, maybe? Like, hey, there's this bug or something. Like I would also like to learn, like I said in the video, what's going on with the teams shifted over from Squadron 42. Have they actually come over, or are there things holding them up
Well,
with
that's
Squadron?
what the progress tracker is for.
Yeah, I
was
don't
gonna
trust
I
that
was gonna
thing.
say they're 100% holding that back for CitizenCon, right?
Yeah.
Because it's approached that point of the year where, other than the info that they're giving us for 4.0, which I will just fight back on the mention of ISC this week being, maybe not as direct. The last like 3 or 4 ISCs have been super. Here is 4.0. Here is footage of the content. Here is the stuff that's coming in it that have been like super direct. I think it's totally okay to, once every couple of weeks have an episode that isn't focusing on that stuff.
Yes.
Especially because like it is interesting. It is cool to learn about.
Yes, but since I watched this video and I fought back in a very similar fashion, because that's how I heard what he was saying initially. The way he explained it now was the timing of the video is the issue, because normal game studios, if they had this relationship with their backers, and they in this community has very close relationship with their community managers, the devs even, right? That most studios would sit down and talk about the situation that just happened. Hey guys, we got a delay. We're sorry. Here's what happened. Here's what we're dealing with. Just be patient with us. We promise this is going to be really cool. We've shown you some cool stuff, but we just hit a snag here, so on and so forth. The video content team is not the community team. The video content team, unfortunately, is the marketing team. And that's all they've ever been. And that's the unfortunate part, is the community and even the community team, unfortunately, acts a little bit too much like a marketing team instead of hey, let's communicate, right? And there isn't much of a back and forth with the community and the studio anymore. It is we put this stuff out, you consume it, and then we complain when you don't like it. And that's basically what I've been getting lately from them, and it's disappointing. And that's what I think Morph is saying. Sorry to put words in your mouth, but that's what I just got from it, from watching your video this morning and hearing you talk about that again. This week it's a sit down, Star Citizen Live. Here's what happened. Chris Roberts is in front of camera with Aaron Roberts and Richard Tyrer. Those are the kind of things that you need at these times, right? Is you need to ensure confidence, and this doesn't ensure any of that confidence.
I mean, they must have known that they were going to announce the. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Croncy.
No, you're good. I wasn't. I just said yes. That was it.
I mean, this discussion internally about officially moving it to Q4 isn't something that suddenly came about when they posted it this past week. It was something that was probably discussed internally as far as maybe a month before that. So, I mean,
Jared was telling us that it was coming, that it was still planned at the time that it was planned.
So, like, what I would hope would happen internally is some kind of a communication with the community facing team to prepare some kind of, explanation for what's going on. Knowing, I mean, they should have known that there was going to be a disappointment. I mean, this is something that's been pushed back since, I can't believe it, 2019. They were talking about pyro and jump points in 2019. That was the CitizenCon presentation with the big jump gate. And we're here almost 5 years later, and it's still being pushed to the end of the year again.
But to interrupt you, is there pushback from CIG, or is there pushback from the community and its other? Like, again, I can't stand it when I go to another content creator's channel and I see them absolutely getting mad at specific other content creators. I think it's awful. And I
let me just delete that video I just posted about Mike.
And I just was, playing Eve mining, and I was like, let me see what people think about the delay. And they're going in on Morph. I'm reading the chat that people are losing their minds about me, and I didn't even say anything. And it's, I think what we're seeing is pushback from the community on these things, Reddit and Twitch and YouTube and Spectrum and Twitter, not CIG, right? They often say we're just as disappointed as you are and stuff like that. I don't really buy it, but I think the things that I'm hearing are coming from people who I don't know what the motivation is. I don't know where it comes from, but like people are allowed to be disappointed, and people are allowed to be like, "Yo, this sucks." I don't get it. I don't get it.
Mhm. Especially because like one of the things that I've harped on about so much in the last couple of years is there is such a large part of the community that enjoys the game right now. It's not necessarily about like what's coming in the future, but anytime you've got the game in a state where it is right now with a live patch kind of trash, kind of boring, the PTU been in the stage for a while, and it's just no longer fun to play. There's going to be extra disappointment. There should be, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
Like what else do we say? You know, like
I mean, I just wanted to express my opinion in a video, and I did. And if people are mad about it, well, all right, fine, whatever. I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. I expressed my opinion, and if you don't like it, don't subscribe, don't watch the video.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
geez.
simple. Yep.
It's not like and if people act like my opinion is gonna go and like change the way CIG works internally, hell no. I'm just expressing an opinion that they're probably not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
From mine. I don't expect them to do anything. I'm just a backer who wants to express an opinion about the game that I enjoy following and I cover on YouTube.
Yep.
I just want to touch on one comment that's been in YouTube, which it's kind of interesting. So someone said, "Is it okay to come back to this right after CitizenCon? Y'all's tone always changes after CitizenCon." I will do you one better. Our tone always changes after every patch. We're in a bad spot right now. Of course, our tone is bad. It feels bad. I don't want to play the game right now. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
So,
but like I said in the video, the big issue for me going into CitizenCon this year is that in the back of my mind, I'm going to remember all the things they talked about in the last CitizenCon that I was present at, and where I got all hyped and excited, knowing that even if they say it's going to come in the next 3 months, that it's just hard for me to believe it when we still don't have the things that you promised from the last. Well, you didn't promise. I'm sorry, I'm using promise, but suggested would be in the next 12 months from the words that they used. So, you know, it just makes it hard to go into it and be as excited. So, yeah, I think there's going to be things in CitizenCon that's going to make me feel happier than I am right now. You know, they might even surprise us. But best case scenario, even if they promise the stars, literally, it's going to be hard to believe that it's going to come out anytime in the next 2 years, given the you know what's just happened with 4.0.
Yeah.
I mean, if they would have released beforehand, I mean, we'd have been going into this so excited, you know, like crazy excited. Yeah. I mean, like, what's next? What's coming after 4.0? I mean, that's the most exciting thing for me, having it in our hands, getting that, and then looking at the next step beyond that, seeing that they've delivered, and then talking about what they're going to deliver next. I mean, what an amazing combination. But yeah, they're just playing into what people expect and pessimistically expect, and that's not helping the game.
No, it's not proven their case as they're doing the good things, you know.
Once again, I'm sorry, Morph, because I haven't watched the video, so I'm sure you touched on it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
What would like CRG this coming week do something to fix the communication, or essentially they try to do something to fix these issues? What would that look like for you?
I think it would be talking about what are the major issues currently being addressed by the team working on server meshing. What exactly is going on? What are the challenges that are causing them to believe that they're going to need additional time to prepare jump points and server meshing for Pyro? I'd like to hear more about that. I'd also like to hear what's going on with 3.24, what's been taking them so long to fix with that? I mean, like, we know from the PTU and what have you, what issues are there, but it seems like it's taking a long time. I just kind of want to understand what's, from their perspective, what's been the hang up, like a post-mortem. I mean, that immediately I think would be really helpful. And then also, like, why haven't we had any server meshing tests this year? Why haven't we had any pyro tests? Like,
that's the one I want to know.
Yeah, or pyro play test, just like
or pyro play test or anything like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, and I actually go through a bunch of things they could answer in the video, like a huge long list of questions. I mean, some of the other more bigger questions I wouldn't expect them to answer right away, and probably wait till CitizenCon is what's coming after pyro. What's the next step? What is a 1.0 release look like for them? that's a bit more. But what they could do, I think, like aside from just communication, like I said in the video, what I think they could do is consider doing another pyro test, like an isolated one if possible. Because actually, I didn't realize this, but some people didn't get a chance to try pyro yet and feel a bit left out.
A lot of people, most people. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't like, if they're concerned about it ruining things, I honestly don't think there was much in that pyro playtest that would ruin anything for anybody. It was missing pretty much all of the key core mechanics that are exciting about pyro. It was more about like just kind of getting a feel for what the play space was going to be like with a few small systems in it. Like if they could do something like that, maybe a little bit improved, I think a lot of people's, a lot of people would be sated. I don't think it's going to like suddenly turn things around, but I think it would keep things at a baseline. It wouldn't decline quite so quickly. I'm afraid to say that the only thing that's going to turn things around in my mind is probably going to be a release of 4.0.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Yeah, and a somewhat successful one. We cannot have a 324 experience with 4.0, but we will. So it's going to have its issues, but it just can't be drawn out as long, I don't think.
Once it goes into testing, I think it's going to be very exciting. Even the testing phase for me will be, maybe it won't be as exciting for people outside the Star Citizen community who are just watching from the fence. But for those of us who've and there's a lot of people who've backed the project and are like on hiatus, and there's a lot of people in my community are doing that. Like I've got so many people that I used to play with who are like all playing different games now. They all say the same thing. They're just kind of bored with Star Citizen right now. They're waiting for 4.0. Nothing really excites them. If they just start doing testing, I think a lot of people will just come back because they'll be excited to help test, even if it's a small thing, even if it's like the Evo Cuddy test that we got to do, that we couldn't share any footage of the jump point tests. Like the way it looked was ridiculously
you guys got
bad.
to do.
Oh,
it was fun. It looked so bad. Like visually it was terrible, but
awesome.
mechanically it was so cool, right? It was cool to test this new mechanic. Like people would be really excited about that. I mean, and as we can see from the funding right now, who's paying for the project? It's all existing backers, not new people. So give the existing backers something to sink their teeth in to want to, spend some more money. I mean, it seems logical to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, I don't know. I just wanted to give you a chance to, I guess, defend yourself. I don't know, because it was.
I don't know what there is to defend about an opinion. I mean, like it's an opinion. If you don't like it, I mean, whatever. Some people want to be infuriatingly positive. Man, I love you. I mean, like if you can do that in the face of this, you're a special person, and I don't say that in a bad way, but Croncy, I just personally can't.
I know. To be fair, all of the things that I still hold really positive about Star Citizen right now are much more community focused rather than
for
patch stuff, right? So it's sort of skewed that way.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just making a joke. I don't think you. We're not talking.
You don't think I have bad opinions?
No, not sometimes, but so do I. But I don't think you have excessively bad opinions.
New shirt. Answer the call. Bad opinions sometimes.
Most of the time. Most of the time. But all right, Morph, I guess we'll let you go because a bunch of people waiting. I wish I would have brought you on officially, but
yeah, we'll make it another time.
Yeah,
when they delay 4.0 again to next year. So
we'll bring you on then, and everyone will be mad at you then, and we'll have another session.
Exactly, it'll be my fault. Everything's my fault. All right,
I'll
be the scapegoat of the community. Excuse me while I go play more Star Wars Outlaws.
Exactly, and. Yeah, I just letting you know, I appreciate. Thanks for messaging me about Lola and stuff like that too. Sorry, I probably didn't type too much back, but
no, it's fine, man. Let's chat more later and catch up a bit more.
Yeah, man. All right, we'll let you go, and thanks for calling in. Appreciate you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Morph.
All right, bye now.
Cheers.
All right, so a little bit longer of a call because it's more as if we had a guest. We want to look at. We want to look at a question, right? We haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, we got some questions for the show. So, like, one of the good advantages of this week being a more boring week is we get to some questions for the show.
Yeah.
So here we go. From Call Me Teach, a regular in the Answer the Call lines. How many years ago do you think CIG should have drawn the line at fidelity and started working on stability and functionality of the game? And how much do you think that would have affected the product we see today? Year one, but it would have also been a completely different game.
You could have done both. You could have done both. There's a lot of little functionality things that could have been done. Like, why not both? You know, that like people make that joke. There's no reason why a lot of things could have been thought about, worked on, worked through during 2.0. Fuck, Arena Commander, the initial Arena Commander patches, and so on and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that they could have thought through with us, but they chose not to for various reasons. And I think one of those reasons was the same reason we're delaying 4.0 again, right? Server meshing is constantly pushing back things because they don't want to redo work. But for a lot of things like economy, reputation, things like that, those are never really redos. They're always reworks or, just tweaks or however you want, whatever word you want to use. I always say a word and then people play the semantics game with you to try to, discredit what you're saying. So it doesn't really matter what I say. I think you get the point that I'm trying to make is there's a lot of things that you could have done to build up the game while you were building up the visuals, right? The visuals are absolutely what funded the game. The ships are absolutely what funded the game, and so on and so forth. But there's no reason why there couldn't have been things that started a lot earlier, things that they're planning on doing now, or that they haven't even done yet, like economy stuff, FPS stuff, gear, rewards, right? Like, come on. Right. I have a video. I'm saving a little something here. I have a video where I think I know what the problem is. And I think it's very obvious. And that problem is going to continue to compound itself and get worse and worse and worse. And I wanted to have that video out by this morning. So I'm going to save that. And I think it's very obvious. And it, just look at what you're experiencing now, and I'll leave it at that, and then I'll make the video. So it's I think it's plain as day, and I don't think it can stop, and that's and I'll just say it. It's the live environment.
Yeah.
We continue to have a live open environment for people to play 24/7, 365. You are going to continue to run into these problems.
Yeah. On a different side, because that is the problem we encounter now. What I sort of had wished they had done, and I'm sure a lot of people do, is like the scope got out of hand really early on in development within the first few years. When I first started playing in 2019, I was like, this is cool, and I only want them to expand on features. And then they started doing, let's do we'll get server meshing in, we'll get persistence in, that sort of stuff. Yep. Obviously, if I had my way, the game would look completely different and maybe wouldn't be even as fun as it might be like now, although today might not be a great example of now.
Yep.
But I think CRG would have had a fairly successful product if 5 years ago they said, we're just going to, bring depth, and that's it. We're just going to focus on depth for a long time.
Yeah. Depth, stability, spaghetti code. Going back and dealing with things like that. So I don't know. I don't know, but and I'm not saying my answer is the answer, because it's not, unfortunately. But it is very clearly one of the biggest problems. So call me Teach. Thank you for that. Next caller, I guess?
Yeah. Let's go to another caller.
All right. Space, what's up, man?
Oh, hey. How good? How are you?
I caught him by surprise this time.
Yes, I was just reading something. I was like, whoa, I'm in the call already.
No worries. What would you like to talk about today, Space Monkey?
First of all, I think I don't know. Is your calculation still correct? And this is a anniversary episode, Croncy? Because last time you mentioned
Yeah. So it has been pretty much like I think it's like the 28th of August last year was the first episode I did with Mike as permanent co-host. So yeah, it's been a year, which is crazy.
Wow.
So happy anniversary! That's why I'm here.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it claps to you. I mean, you do a great job. You do a great show. People come in and even getting more and more. So kudos to your professionalism and your show.
Did you say professionalism?
Oh, come on, Mike. There is some professionalism in it.
Oh.
Yes, why not? Come on. I mean, I think you're a great host, so why should not? Why not?
I
cheer
like
with
to
that?
think that I brought some of the Star Citizen White Knights into the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm cheering on them a little bit because even deluded people like myself need some fun sometimes too.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a good, sometimes a bit of fun to have like a spicy discussion. So even get yelled at sometimes, maybe.
I'm here for that. I'm good at that.
I know. No, just kidding. Then I have to call you out, Mike, because you betrayed Doc. You said no matter what happened, next episode, he's the first, and now you gave Morph your streamer the streamer privilege.
He never showed up.
Really? He was.
Oh yeah, true.
I
Yeah, I hadn't seen him. Yeah.
I saw him in the green room, so maybe he disappeared.
Oh, when I looked, he wasn't
must
there.
have run off.
Yeah, every time
Yeah.
I looked,
Oh,
he wasn't
okay.
in there.
Ah, okay. Because I saw him for a short notice, and then he was gone, and I thought you moved him up. So that's
No.
okay.
Yeah,
No,
just
we
for,
banned
for,
him from the server.
Yeah, so for behind the scenes, I can't see Discord while I'm running the stream. So it's the same screen.
Ah, okay.
So Discord has to be full screened. So I have to. So Croncy looks good. So I have to keep it behind the stream software that I'm using, which is like where I change the names of you guys and change the scenes and stuff like that. So I'm looking at Discord very minimally during the podcast. I do the best I can.
Good.
But enough of that, Space Monkey. When do you think 4.0 is releasing? Let's go.
Oh my God, I'm putting pressure on me now. I think maybe. I mean, I don't want to give dates for the live stuff, but I thought having 4.0 to the point where CitizenCon is up, I think it would be realistic. And but
still, even though it's not going to be now.
Well, it still could. I don't think it will.
When is CitizenCon? Which date?
CitizenCon's end of October. So
listen,
that's
I will
but I don't think it'll release before then.
Guys, I will
not
stop
release, but PTU before.
Guys, I will remove any idea of this whatsoever. I think I can remove any idea of this. I don't want to, but I'll just bring it up on the screen here. We go to this screen. I'm remove the question, and then there is Jake. Somebody asking, what's no 325 on the roadmap in the roadmap update?
Yeah.
And Jake goes ahead and says, none of the deliverables for IAE are on release view quite yet. We'll be adding them as we get closer. There's going to be a patch that is not 4.0 before that. Now, is that just ships?
Yeah.
Probably.
I imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, ships are cards on the roadmap, right? And they do go on release view.
Yeah, so, but seeing stuff from the past where you had I remember one time where you had 3 branches up besides the live patch. It was PTU, ePTU, and then some hotfix stuff. So from a technical point of view, nothing stops them from running stuff in parallel. So if there will be a 4.0, they will create a branch, PTU branch, and they could also run, I believe they could run in parallel also a 3.25, whatever IE patch.
Yeah, whatever they call it.
Yeah, whatever. So technically it's, I don't know, I shouldn't be any problem. But the thing is, isn't that also the delay proof? I don't know if staggered development is still used by them, but like understanding that correctly, it would be also a sign for that they can't do staggered development, because when they say they have like two, sorry, Croncy, say.
I was just gonna say I'm not 100% positive, but I'm fairly sure they got rid of staggered development like last year.
Okay.
Because they started having teams work on features rather than specific patches.
Okay. Yeah, well then that makes sense, because otherwise,
I mean, it's technically there. Like, let's use the mission team is working on cargo missions, but they're also working on the mission refactor, which is for 4.0.
Yeah.
So it but I don't think it's like they schedule perfectly like that anymore. Probably is what it is.
Because with that in mind, that would have meant that you have like two teams working separately and nothing blocks the work from the other team. When they argue now, okay, the 4.0 is delayed because of 3.24, it means there are some shared resources, and staggered development doesn't make any sense there. So
there's definitely shared resources. There's no way there's not. And
especially
they're still
within
sharing
the testing,
resources
like the
with
QA
Squadron.
team. Yeah,
They're still sharing resources with Squadron as well.
Yeah. True.
I will actually ask, do you know if the QA team for Squadron and Star Citizen are like interchangeable?
I don't know. I don't know if they've ever talked about it.
Might be an interesting.
I might know,
thing.
but I don't know if I can say anything.
Okay.
Because I don't know if they've ever talked about it, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we know Xylo played all of Squadron 42.
I mean, testing features. Why not? I mean, I'm doing QA for I don't know how many years now, but I think you can do QA for two projects. It's not a problem. You get something that is delivered by the developer and said this is the stuff you get, and there are some technical informations besides that, and then go test it. And then you run, and then you can also go to another project and say, okay, this is our technical sheet here. This is what we want to achieve. Please test, and then you go run and test it. So I don't see why there wouldn't be a possibility to share that resource.
And I'm 99% sure that somebody's come in my chat before and said, I am Squadron 42 QA.
So,
well, they can be, I mean,
they could be a QA member that's embedded with a team. That's like a thing.
Yeah. I mean, from an organizational point, true, but not from a tech. The tech shouldn't limit that, but the organizational stuff, like you are QA.
Yeah, how it's managed would be.
The interesting, the big question for me is, what is? I mean, I'm also totally agreeing with Morph's point. So why don't we? They lack the information about why we did not get any preview tests, and they must run into some big issue or something that delayed the testing. But I'm also disappointed about the communication, because we told them over and over again, like, you're allowed to make mistakes. I mean, just communicate them. We are happy about that information. Just don't leave it behind, or don't mention anything at all in the monthly reports. I mean, if there would be like a section for server meshing in the monthly reports to say, hey, we ran into an issue. I mean, they did it with the what's it called, the alien ship, where they said the cockpit isn't ready. That's what delayed it. So why not do it for server meshing? It's like, there's some issues, we delayed it, whatever.
I wonder, like, how much of, because like they could of course say stuff. There's a decision actively to not, I would imagine. And it's like, how much of that is to prevent like further bad rep in the greater sort of gaming sphere? There was a kind of interesting thing when we were talking to Morph about, the new player acquisitions. So many people have no idea about Star Citizen now. And so they are the people that, CIG want to go for, not the people who said it was a scam 10 years ago. And it's like, it's the only reason I can think of that they don't want to talk about that is in the case it leaves the community. Because I think you're exactly right. I think the community would be totally okay with them saying,
you're 100%
this tech
right.
failed, this whatever failed,
You're 100% right. And you could tell, because when we complain internally in our little bubbles, like we talk on the podcast, I make a video, I watch something on stream or something like that, CIG doesn't do anything. But when it goes on r/gaming and and things go wrong, all of a sudden lots of shit starts to change. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah.
Being in the bubble, you normally don't think about the outside of the bubble, or you
No, but when it gets
tend to
out,
not think about it. But yeah, you're right.
when it gets out, all of a sudden they're typing on Reddit, they're making Spectrum posts. The next patch, that thing that everyone was complaining about is fixed, and yeah,
and
they're very concerned with, because they're yes, they make stupid commercials on Star Citizen YouTube channels, which is weird, but the most of their marketing is word of mouth through these channels, and their most successful ones are around CitizenCon, when people outside this community are paying attention to the game, right?
But I don't know if I mean, at least I would try it, and to calm down the community and say, okay, there's some delay in server meshing. I don't believe that would trigger the next Kotaku article about bed sheets.
I don't know, man. The second you say the word delay,
it doesn't matter. Do they like Morphologis, who is saying that his views are down, I think has more sway than Kotaku does on what a person's going to think about Star Citizen. Let's be real.
Yeah. But yeah, like I want that communication. But at the same time, I don't want it to hurt the game in the future, because I want there to be people in the game to play against. So I don't know, CIG, figure it out.
Nobody wants this game to fail. Like,
yeah,
like the idea of, like, I don't think anybody.
No, someone wants this game to fail. That one guy.
No,
that
there's
one
people.
guy on Twitter.
There's people that
always
do.
one guy.
But when I say nobody, I'm definitely speaking for myself and our podcast or whatever. Is I don't know how many of you that are watching on YouTube at least caught the beginning where we're like, hey, I want to keep it short today, because the only thing that happened was negative, and I don't want to harp on the negative all day, which, like, for too long, because it's all we're gonna do, and I want to keep it short. First off, I don't think it's entertaining or fun. I think people come to channels and watch stuff for fun. I don't think dooming gets you views. And like I see on my, whenever I'm forced to go to Twitter to post a sponsored tweet, I see how I just do things for views and stuff like that from all these people. And it's from a bunch of people who've never made content in their life and have no idea. It's not successful. It doesn't work. It's not good. So, as far as CIG's perspective goes, the last thing they want is this mentality to get out. And I think that's why people in the community get upset about it too, is they get very concerned that something I say, something Morph says, or whatever will influence people, but people are capable of thinking for themselves, right? And I don't have to influence anybody. The last 4 years have done CIG has done a good enough job of influencing people to be upset at them. So they need to just own it, apologize, and that's it. Apologies go a long way, and then get to work, right? And I'm tired of talking about game development. I'm tired of talking about why this game development failure happened with this company again for the 50th time. It's like, I can't wait to have this show where we're talking about this freaking feature that is super awesome. We're having so much fun. Hey, did you try this? This was cool. Did you see? Oh, did you not know it works like this? Oh my God, that's so sick.
Which I will say, we've had a few of those episodes this year. A few.
Quite a few,
but we've had way more, especially the last couple of months, of God damn it, it's not here. God damn it, this is back again,
Yeah, like, come on. Like, none of us want to have these conversations, man. None of us want to do this stuff. It's crazy.
No, not really. To the end, I think some remarks to the progress tracker. I have to use the word again, disappointed, but I was hoping a bit to have a bit more flash inside the progress tracker, because it feels pretty empty for an update that was cooking for 8 months. But I was surprised to see engineering at the end of their planning. So, and it looked, from the UI at least, pretty far along. But I don't know how the gameplay is. But
it's a good thing that the UI is ahead of the the gameplay for once, it seems like, because we haven't had that experience with Star Citizen in a while. So I think that bodes well for it. But I think it really comes down to like I don't know if you caught it at the beginning of the show when Croncy and I were saying, I think it's going to be a long time to get this into most of the ships. And that's kind of the issue here. And then how do you deal with it with the smaller ships? And so they got some challenges ahead of them, right? There's a lot of ships that there are no components on. How do you repair them?
But we have mostly smaller chips at the moment, so maybe the effort is. I mean, there are a lot of
there's
chips.
There's workarounds for sure.
I think the smaller ships are the bigger challenge.
Oh, explain. I'm curious. Why?
Where are the components on the Aurora? Where are the components on the Mustang? Where are the components on the C8?
True,
Where are the where do you fit them?
Yeah, true. For the ship team that needs to implement components,
it's a lot of work, it looks like. It's a lot of artwork. And what's the priority for art? It's probably not going back and making the game work. It's probably going and making new ships to make more money, especially right now. So, unfortunately...
I counted...
And locations. Ships and locations.
Yeah.
And I counted
the
4...
ship artists would be the people doing this, so... It's probably just ships.
And I counted 4 or 5 unannounced ships in the pipeline. So.
There's a lot in the monthly report,
Yeah. Because we're behind. They got an IAE's coming up, and they got to have a good IAE. Everyone wants them to have success. But let's not ignore that the way they have success makes the game take longer to come out, guys. Like it just does.
I will also say, because we should let you go pretty soon, Space Monkey, because we've been talking for a bit. But I do also just want to make sure, Mike, before we take the next call, we should look at the sneak peeks, because there is some fancy stuff there. But sorry, continue, Space Monkey. Finish up.
One last thing to finish up. I think, I don't know which episode it was a while ago, where you said crafting. You believe crafting takes a long time, but I don't think so, because basically we have an early version of crafting in it with the multi-tool and the salvage stuff, and I don't think that it shouldn't take that long to create an asset that spits out the stuff you crafted, and to create a UI to, I don't know, shove some stuff in to create some things. I don't know if this is so technically challenging. I think most of the stuff is assets, maybe to
You're not thinking about it as a Star Citizen feature. You're thinking about it as a regular video game feature.
Yeah, but
you've got to assume you've got to assume in crafting in Star Citizen, and it's kind of what we want, is for them to be able to utilize every single commodity, utilize things like hunting and farming on different planets and different flora and fauna, physicalizing a bunch of it. They're likely going to make it more complex than what we have right now, where it's just press a button, make item, blueprints, all that sort of stuff. I agree, a crafting system is not complex. The Star Citizen one will probably be. So it's going to take a while.
Depends how big your tier 0 implementation will be. Because they could say, okay, it's an easy win with some items and just test it out, and then...
Okay.
But I don't know if they shoot for the moon. But anyway, that will be too long to discuss today.
I want to take 2 seconds on this. Just because I don't agree with you at all that crafting should be, or is not, or whatever, should be easier. If I type crafting into the progress tracker, I think it was the progress tracker. I'm not really sure where I was going with this, actually, but
it's scheduled for the
it's scheduled
until
till
December,
the end of time.
so
It's scheduled till the end of time because the last one we don't know when it'll be, but crafting in it's a 1.0 feature. That's what I remember where I was going now.
Yeah.
Crafting is a 1.0 feature probably, right? Or anything that you're getting post initial 4.0 release that's on the cards, if they're doing what they said they were going to do, which I mean, this whole show is about not believing anything they say. So they talked about 1.0. They talked about working on features for 1.0. This is clearly one of those features. Engineering is probably one of those features, so on and so forth. They have to be more than what we're used to for a tier 0. They have to be not fully fleshed out. A crafting system in a 20-year-old game like Eve is not fully fleshed out. They add more things to it. Things change, so on and so forth, right? Yeah. So nobody's saying that, but the tier 0 of what we have now, we don't go up one level from what we have now and craft like 3 other things, right? We need to be crafting hundreds of things, and we need to be using multiple different materials, and they need to come from here, from there. They need to balance the economy for them, so on and so forth, right? So we can't look at this and say that it's simple and easy and whatever. But Space, thank you. That's where we'll leave you. I know I want to give you a chance to rebuttal, but I also we'll go on forever.
I was about to. I was about to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I know. I just.
But
know
it was the anniversary
more.
episode.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Space, and thank you for calling all the time, and thank you for being a staple. And we appreciate you, dude.
Guys.
We always know there's one caller.
If there's a drought, you have my number.
Yeah, we got you. All right,
Space, guys, have fun. Bye.
Cheers, Space Monkey.
All right, and we'll bring in KingJasper. We'll get another. We'll get the other question, and after this, I'm gonna set it up. I just wasn't ready.
Hello, KingJasper. There's one thing I do really quickly want to say, which is, so people have come into the chat and they told us that there is a patch cooking on a Sunday, which is very uncommon. So people be working overtime for 324. There's definitely some sort of like.
I'm telling you, they're trying to fix that entity thing. They get that entity thing done, and this shit's going out to live, no matter how bad it is, because we're just hitting. There's a there's a hard date that is like no more.
Yeah,
at this point, it has done enough damage. It doesn't matter how bad it is; it's going out, and that's what we're gonna get.
The bathwater.
Yeah, but
yeah.
How
you doing, KingJasper?
So, what do you want to talk about, King?
I'm doing good. Couple of positives, couple of negatives. I'm obviously with everybody else disappointed in the delay.
Bring the positives first. I need it. I need to feel better.
I had a couple of people who bounced off Star Citizen a couple of times, similar to myself when I first played it, who have said, I want to come back and try it again. And I said, okay, this was, a couple of weeks ago. There's a speculative, really cool bit of stuff on the horizon. We don't know if it's going to be coming out this year, but we think it is. But at the very least, now's like a pretty good time. Like, you're mostly not fighting the game to play it these days.
Yep, mostly.
Because I remember, I think that was the biggest thing that made me bounce off the game, was that when I went to just get out my apartment, go down the elevator, go to the trains, go to the ASOP, go and grab a ship, go and fly somewhere, go and shoot some guys in a bunker. That was a 2-hour-long ordeal with someone sherpering me with 2 crashes.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I could say confidently, yeah, we can knock that out in 45 minutes. We probably won't even crash.
I feel like I can't say the same for the 324 patch.
Well, yeah, but it's not live yet, Mike.
It's
definitely going to be better in a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Okay, look, playing right on patch drop is not a great time, but, if you play, the 323 is cooked. It works.
I feel like I've heard tons of people complaining about the state of the servers in 323 the last week, but I'm glad you had a good experience. I don't think it works.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a lucky. I think you literally had a lucky experience. So, damn, I was hoping I was going to feel good, but now I'm just kind of laughing.
I will say I have had a friend have a similar experience literally this past weekend. And just play live. It was for them. It was their first time ever playing, and they had an okay time.
Why would you do that to your friend?
Yeah, I didn't tell them to. They just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had someone who joined during the free fly, and they flew ships around, and then I gave them a couple of mine to fly.
The
around
most recent free fly, like the one that was 2 weeks ago, last week. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
And the servers were just fine TM during it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't laggy. I think the most unusual thing that we had was when I turned around in the terminals in Grimhex, someone had crashed one of their little races in there, and I went, "That's not normally here, but we're just going to move on."
Sorry, slightly unrelated, but also related. a fantastic, lovely new form of griefing I've discovered. People putting 32 SEU crates in front of elevators in the in the actual like station to get into the elevator. So love that. Anyway.
A 32 SU on both sides of the Everest Harbor ASOP terminal? That sounds so cool, dude.
Yeah. I don't know how they did it, but yeah, lovely. Big fan of that.
Wizardry.
You know what? If you could do it, that's systemic gameplay right there. Deserved.
It's the real blockade runner. We're blocking you from running.
True.
Other positives, like me personally, all gameplay. So, organize events, do training, help new players with industrial things, stuff, just little bits and pieces. The game's like not in an awful state for just like doing the things that are currently in the game.
Yeah.
Though we're in a rough content drought for anybody who's like myself. You guys experienced most of it.
You got to have a group that's willing to play pretend. Like, and I'm not saying that in a little child like cringe way or whatever. You got to have a group who's willing to like kind of buy in and play pretend in order to get them in. I'm not at this point right now, but I tell you what, I've been like when playing Eve, and I'm in a huge alliance in Eve, and seeing how they do things and seeing how I could bring that. Like all I think about while playing Eve is how can I bring all these cool things that I'm learning here over to Star Citizen to make that experience better. It's so cool. But yeah, at this point, like getting people to want to go out and mine or salvage for what, it's like it's hard for me.
Yeah, rough if you're a Civ side player. For me, there was a note of, there's a fight at X location. These guys are about to get jumped. Me and, the gang all went, we'll jump on and we'll go and have a look. Big fight. A bunch of people get involved. A bunch of different orcs get called in. Turns into a bigger and bigger fight over time. It ends after a while and everyone goes, that was good. Good time.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like Eve. Actually.
Yeah. This is a time of the year. And this does kind of happen every year. It's just a little bit more jarring this year, I guess. But like this is the time of year where I really like to start to, if I want to play Star Citizen, I'm going to ham out some racing. I'm going to start getting really, really good at the things that work that I already enjoy. Problem is, there's a lot of people who don't like that,
Yo, I don't know what they did, but the Nox feels kind of okay again, but I only flew it around the hangar. So maybe...
in 324?
Yeah, so maybe Gravlev is back. We'll see.
But, but yeah, like it's you can't play the game like the really fun ways that happen usually at like the start of the year. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Patch fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're at the end of the cycle and, there's all this stuff on the horizon that looks really, really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But circling back to another bit of positive, in spite of, issues and delays and everything else about the game, do you ever just stop and look at a ship and go, this thing just looks really pretty? And I really appreciate walking around it and thinking about all the design elements that went into it, all the, bits and pieces that someone modeled and created and thought seemingly quite a lot about for a lot of these ships.
Yeah, for sure, but that's not why I play the game.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with appreciating the art, but it's I want to use the art.
That's not what got me into the game. That's not what keeps me here, but that is the X factor that will always make Star Citizen kind of cool if they did anything.
Yeah.
If they did the game, if they were like, let's make it, hey, let's go ahead and make a game now. Like the ships would be, it would just make everything 10 times better, but they got to do that part first.
Yeah, I mean, we even said before, the Star Citizen is Star Citizen because of stuff that Gavin Rothery has done, right?
Yeah.
But the meat that we actually need to enjoy over and over again is what we're concerned about.
They keep saying the word MMO, guys. You don't play other games when you play an MMO, and you don't do anything other than play that MMO, and you play it for hours, right? That's what you do. And this game cannot support that yet. They have to work towards supporting that. And it really blows, but like Master Modes changes is a big part of that. And they're not good right now. And I'm not saying they're ever going to be good. I don't know enough about it to speak on it. But their intentions there were to make it so more people are flying spaceships and fighting each other. Whether they succeed or not is a whole nother thing. The economy stuff that we're like in the like we're not even in the middle. We're in the first quarter or eighth of an economy change, and you got like this stuff working over here, that stuff making way too much money over there, but the intention there is to make it an MMO they play every day. But I don't just stand around and look at the ships and go, "Wow, that's pretty." You know what? You know where I do it more than ever? I do it in Eve because I'm playing the game. But it gives me a moment to look and be like, wow, this game is actually beautiful as well. So
that's very valid. Yeah. No, that's fair.
I do a lot more in Eve.
Yeah. On that note, then, I remember I was talking to a couple of people about it, and we were saying, what does 1.0 even look like? You know, because I was like, it's years out at this rate. Because if they want to have their, massive star map with all their systems, and then the immediate thing that I was cut off with was, no, dude, it's going to be a minimum viable product. And I went,
yep,
fuck, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, of course it is.
Whatever 1.0 is the minimum viable release product, which is inevitably going to disappoint everyone here. Because everyone
what does that look like in your head?
Yeah, because
everyone has different expectations.
Exactly. And there's no way they're going to
satisfy
everyone,
or even all of one person's, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah, but like that's still not necessarily a bad thing because getting a
not
release.
Even saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. But getting like a release also solves some of the things we were talking about before. If the game can just keep progression, if it can just give us meaningful gameplay loops or more meaningful gameplay loops, everything changes so heavily about many issues people have with the game. So like a smaller viable product. What was the thing that someone said? Stop working on fidelity and start working on,
basically
the stability and stuff. That's 1.0.
Yep.
Stop working on fidelity. Start working on all that stuff. So it'll be big. It'll be a big deal.
Yeah, and again, there's lots of talking about functionality. There has not been a lot of doing about it, so we'll see.
Yeah.
There was a video I saw you reacting to a little while back about like better rewards for Star Citizen, and I was thinking about it and thinking, man, that's basically all I need. Just like some systems where I can go, whatever task or activity or mission I'm doing, whatever bit of the game I'm working through, there's something to work towards. It's not just AUEC, a cool ship that's like not accessible other ways, a gun, a design, a blueprint, a cosmetic.
And what do you do when you get it? What happens after you get that thing?
It's just, it is what it is.
But then they have to dangle the next carrot or whatever, right? Just be careful with saying all I need is. Because I remember saying all I need is to be able to loot players. And then when I opened a backpack and there was nothing of value to loot from them, I was like, fuck. That's the moment I switched from Torque 17 to SaltEMike, I'm pretty sure. Was when I was like, I started saying like, okay, that's fun, but like we need more. We need more. We need more. We need more. And I was constantly saying we need more, and then everyone was talking shit and calling me salty, and I was like, oh.
No.
Well, I know I want to change my name. This sounds like a good name. And I think that's kind of around that time that all that happened. And just be careful with that, because I find myself saying those things too. But in reality, we've played other video games before, and you need more.
That's a good enough. That's a good reality check. That's a good reality check.
Yeah.
It was why it was promising to hear. I think 2 weeks ago now, when they did the ISC on Pyro, and obviously once again not delivered yet, so this could all entirely change, might not be implemented. But when they did talk about the rewards for the contested zones, it was like, okay, we can kind of see how that'll make this entire aspect of the game more interesting, right?
Yep.
Once again, not in the game yet. That's a big caveat.
And they never told you what the reward is, and it's very scary because it's so important to get right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important to get right.
The one bit that they never dropped, and I went, I really don't like it, boss.
Red flag. Red flag.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really red
flag.
flag.
Am I losing my mind? Did they not say in the SCL that it was going to be components?
Components, yeah, but that's about it. Like that's not a reward. Like,
oh no, that
is definitely a reward.
Something I can get right now. Something I can get right now is not something that you can then take away from me and then say, this is the new reward we're dangling in front of you.
I disagree, but there will be a lot of vitriol about that. Like, I do think that is completely fine because you're now changing the way that people are going to play the game and the way they're going to interact with each other. But it will inevitably, people will get mad because they don't have access to the thing they had before. But I think it's fine. I think you do that.
I'm worried that you get this item, you put it on your ship, and you never lose it. So a contested zone.
Yeah, I want it to be limited.
Yeah, contested zone is a thing in order for it to live, it needs to be contested all the time. People need to want to go there all the time. You can't do the Vandal Mask. All right, I've done it. I don't need to do it anymore. You can't do that. It needs to be a constant. I died. I lost that really good thing again. I need to go try and get it back.
Yep.
So
or trade with someone who's done it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's the key thing there is a cargo hauler, a miner, a casual player that just loves the game will not want to go through the toxicity that will be that experience. And toxicity can be a positive thing too. It's not always negative. I think it's going to be a meat grinder like they described it, and I think that's awesome, and that's going to be brutal, and people are not going to want to go through that brutality. But you can make enough money to pay somebody to go through that brutality for you. So, yep.
Creates a lot of depth.
A viable
from
trade
seemingly
system.
But it creates a lot of depth from seemingly not a huge thing.
One item can create a ton of depth, and who knows? Maybe it'll be more.
Cool. We've been on the call for quite a while, KingJasper. Final thought.
As someone who's personally done a bunch of like PU based FPS, the concept of the current like 4.0 like contested zone system is kind of for me because I know exactly how much I can exploit a corner and run around it and shoot someone before they've even seen me.
Yep.
Right now, and I don't see it.
Then
getting
hit me
better.
up. I'm going to be buying all of those modules from you instead of doing it myself.
Just take advantage of it. It's sad, but just take advantage of it. You got to fix it. So, all right, KingJasper, we'll let you go, man.
All right.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, cheers for the call. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, that was King. Question time. We'll go quick question, and then actually we'll go another caller because again, I just talked to King the whole time. So you lead the start of the conversation, so I can get the question together.
That's all good.
We'll bring certified. Well, I think you actually have led it, but I've just been kind of hanging out and listening. But Gumbo, you're
it's
here.
Just so much cool conversation.
Exactly.
Hello, Gumbo. How you doing?
What's happening?
What's up?
Oh man, it's been fantastic listening to this conversation. This has been a great conversation today. Also,
I'm glad. I thought today was going to be really drab and really like sad and boring and stuff. So I'm glad people are enjoying it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an honest conversation, right? Like that's
that's
what to me at least feels good about the conversation. And did I hear correctly? This is the 1 year anniversary.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty
congratulations.
Much,
Congratulations. This has been I've listened anytime I've listened into this podcast has been dope. So dope conversation. So good job.
Oh yeah, we appreciate it.
Glad you like it.
We will keep it up for as long as 1.0 isn't released.
Quite a while. That sounds great. All right. So where did I want to start? I guess so. The elephant in the room 4.0. I think going back to the beginning of the year, like CIG had they kind of broke their bad habits of communication. And I think honestly all of this comes down to their communication habits. And
we thought they
since
did.
320
right?
Yeah. Yeah, because since 323 has launched, they've relapsed into their bad communication habits, in my opinion. Like of old. Like
Yeah.
I think their hesitance or it's like when things aren't going the way they plan, instead of just admitting that, like it's like from the jump, they wait till the last possible minute to where they have no choice but to admit things are not going as planned. And I think that's what pisses people off within the community, because it's
and then tell us when they're quiet that all is well.
Right. Or just don't acknowledge it at all. Like just kind of pretend like it's not happening. Like anybody who played Evo 324, there was no way, you must have been high off the cocaine to believe that 4.0 wasn't getting delayed.
Cocaine is a great one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
It was terrible.
Like it was just really, really bad. But it was one of those of like, of course it is, but you get a better scope of it, obviously.
Yeah. But like, okay, so in that, right? Like imagine if CIG had just gone, hey, yo, like what if Jared on Star Citizen Live after that build went out was like, hey guys, if you're an Evo tester, like we need all hands on deck for 324. Like there's a lot of issues with it. We need to get resolved. We need concurrency. We need to get as many heads on this as possible. Like I feel like having those types of conversations would benefit CIG greatly in the community, because
to be fair to him, I feel like he does mention that occasionally.
I don't think it should be on him solely. That was just like an example, because a lot of people watch SCL, you know what I'm saying? So like they don't always read Spectrum, they don't always read what's being posted to the website, but people do tune into that. And I think like I don't think it should be on him to do that, but he does have the platform for it, and that's the only reason why I use him as an example there. But like I feel like even now, like it would be nice if in the patch notes they would put like under the known issues, here are the blocking issues for the patch going live. Like we need more people to, focus on testing these features and see, so we can see what the issues are. Like, because it's weird, like not knowing why a build what's stopping the build from going live. I don't understand why that doesn't get communicated to us in the first place. I mean, we are in a testing environment. We should know what their focuses and priorities are.
Can I jump in?
Patch to go live.
I really struggle. Like I wanted to say it to Morph too, and with the conversation just went elsewhere. We need communication on why things went wrong. Does that change anything? Is that gonna make the game come out any faster if they tell you why they fucked up for the 100th time? Or is what's going to change them actually changing? Or is what's going to change them actually getting it done? Right? And I don't think I want communication of why we fucked up for the 70th time. I want them to stop communicating to set expectations in a way. I want them to continue to communicate, but I want them to stop setting expectations and making themselves look fucking stupid every time. Like the idea of members of this community going, well, you knew this was going to happen. Of course we did, because CIG continuously sets expectations horrendously. And that's the issue with communication for me. The issue with communication for me isn't, well, we fucked up again. You know what? They have postmortems. They would do that. And how much weight did you put in those? Because they never learned from their lessons there either. They're still continuing to do the same things. So it doesn't matter how many times they fucked up. It doesn't matter how many times they tell you they fucked up. It only matters when they stop fucking up. That's when things are going to be good.
I am fairly positive if we go back through the podcasts and we find the one where they originally announced the 4.0 Q3 like day, like target, whatever. We were talking about how that felt way too optimistic for even CIG.
Yep.
At the time.
Yeah.
And we were right. Like, and I feel like a lot of people were right.
Yeah.
No, it's on CIG. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're not proud to be right about this stuff. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then also too, like the dual testing stuff that they like promised at the beginning of the year, like but we had it in the first half, like things were going seemingly the way they had said they would go, and then after 323 went live, like all of a sudden it's it's like I don't know if the hangers have been basically the hang up for that or what, but they don't communicate that issue. Like is the reason why we haven't had 4.0 in the tech preview or PTU, one of the other PTU channels, because the hanger issue? Because to me it seems like if the hanger issues are in 324, they're going to be in 320 in 4.0. So what the hell's the point of even doing a split environment? But that's me making an assumption because they've never communicated why we haven't done a server meshing test again since March, when we hadn't seen Pyro since what, February, March?
I said every week on this
since
podcast.
November last year or
I
whatever.
said every week on this podcast, how the fuck are we talking about 4.0 if we're not doing any testing?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like I get like that is their, I guess, public focus for how they're communicating this year. Everything is about 4.0, like, but it has been for the last 4 years, if we're being honest. It just feels this year has just felt more tangible than previous years.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, like I think that they have to just be more open about when things are not going as planned earlier than, you know, the last possible minute. Like why is the progress tracker, you know, you publishing the progress tracker for the first time in a year, which by the way, I still feel like they should just get rid of the progress tracker, like, and just stick to the release view. Because once again, as soon as they publish that, like all of the same people within the community who read way too deep into the progress tracker all of a sudden began to do the same things that they were doing previously, and it's just not good. Like
they're
Jake
already pointing at like the line ends here, like they're already doing it.
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
bro,
why
like
are
this
we
is
doing
so
this shit,
ridiculous.
Guaranteed
man?
release date, Mike. That's what that means.
Why are we doing this?
And then like poor Jake, he's got to put out the fires like as soon as those go live because people are reading way too much into it. And I'm just like, I don't see why this is worth the effort. Like the release view was fine. Like what's going into the next patch is all we need to really be concerned about. Don't even look at what's beyond that. Like I don't see how that's beneficial to the community or to CIG to publish that.
I like to know what they're working on right this second.
You got a monthly report.
Yeah,
exactly.
Agree,
there's other ways for me to
There's
figure
better
that
ways.
Stuff
There's such
monthly
better
reports
ways.
are perfect for the long term because you do get to see what they're, well, you don't get to see, but you get to read about what they're working on. Like, oh, okay, cool.
And it's in enough detail that for the most part you believe them.
Right. Like it's
I do think the monthly report's one of the better pieces of communication we get.
I think it's
because
every month.
I think it's
you
the
don't
best.
see a release date. You don't see a date. You don't see a start and a finish. Like then that's the problem with the release view. People see a start point and they see a finishing point and they assume that means, oh, in January we're going to get crafting. No, it doesn't. Like, you know, like it's just it's frustrating.
Yep.
Like that they continue to publish that. Like that's just like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, somebody in chat said the monthly report is touched by actual developers, and that's sort of the difference. I think it's definitely getting edited, but I don't think that it's being as edited as a ISC, SCL. Hey, let's talk about that, you know, whatever. So I think they're putting out what they're comfortable talking about, what they're working on. They give details on how it works. I think the radar stuff has been super interesting and cool to read over the last couple of months. And yeah, just that's the best. And you get that, and then Jared gets to take that and go, well, oh, now we're capable of showing it. And then you get an ISC on it. It's a really nice little system. And then you get the SCL where you get to ask questions about it. So like, I don't want to shit on the way they've communicated in their content. I think this has been the best year as far as that's gone. As far as feature, monthly report maybe, feature on ISC, questions later. Everyone gets their clarifications for the most part, and then we move on to the next thing. And I thought that went well.
Yeah. I think what might be a better way of framing it is they've put a lot of weight on 4.0, even 323, 324, certain features and certain patches. And it's like, it feels like the the issues have not gotten as much of attention as the cool things, I guess. And that's an issue for us as daily players.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like the monthly reports, ISC, SEL, all year have been great. This has been the best year for those 3 platforms specifically. Like if they continue to do that, like that's going to be good. It's just the other areas, like outside of that, because to be fair, like on ISC, right, that's all of that stuff is recorded ahead of time, so it's not like Jared has any time to like make edits or revisions, but he shouldn't have to. Like that's not what that's for. That stuff works fine. It's just when a patch is in the PTU and it's not like 324, it has not been going as planned. Like I don't understand why they will not say that. There's nothing wrong with saying that, in my opinion. Like it's just,
I feel like they have.
It's well, I think they have now, like closer to, because now they know that there's no possible way that they can get 4.0 in testing in Q3 either. So we're gonna hit September, and maybe by the end of September we'll have a 4.0 in Evo, possibly. But that window's starting to close. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like at the end of the day, like they've got to figure out how they can set expectations correctly going forward for the community. And like
they've hit a wall where they, at least for me, you don't start delivering, you're never gonna, your expectations are never gonna mean anything to me.
Yeah. And then the community as a whole is beginning to have the same sentiments as well.
Yeah.
But like at some point, like that shit might start affecting their CitizenCon ticket sales, and that might be the thing that.
Well, they're already basically sold out, so it won't affect that this year at the very least.
What I'm saying?
I saw somebody say boycott CitizenCon in chat, and I'm like, okay, these people that are like, don't buy ships, boycott CitizenCon. That's
no
not
money
the
to
answer.
pyro.
Yeah, like that's not the solution to this problem, guys.
Also, I don't go to CitizenCon for Cloud Imperium games. I go there to meet all my friends. Like, what are you talking? I'm not boycotting my friends.
Yeah, like what?
Right, like fuck? Yeah, you're boycotting the community at the end of the day, because it is a community being put on by CIG. Dumb. But like, it's weird. But I mean, this happens. We hit this point every summer, right before CitizenCon, in some shape or fashion. Whatever builds on live is in a terrible shape. Whatever's in the PTU is like in whatever shape it's in. The hype and all of the stuff that they're really wanting to talk about, they don't talk about because it has to be presented at CitizenCon. Like, I heard somebody said something about like on the progress tracker there's a lack of features, and it's like, well, yeah, because they're going to talk about all that stuff at CitizenCon. After CitizenCon, then they'll add those other features that you don't see on the progress tracker right now.
With their made updates and the whatever, and it just, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? So, I just can't wait to be like in that PTU, and then like you're like, oh wow, that feature's smooth. Until we're there, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough. But all right, Gumbo, we're approaching the 10-hour mark, and we got one more caller. So let's try to give him
10
his
hours.
time.
Damn, it's been a long
2-hour mark. 2-hour mark, and we have 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
We talked for more for 8 hours. It was crazy.
it was a great 8 hours too.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, appreciate the conversation and the platform, and good luck.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much.
All right, appreciate it.
Catch you soon.
Talk to you later.
All right, and Maxim or Stempec, I'm trying to give him a moment. Oh no, I have the question. I have the question ready. So let's go to the question first. From Drymord. What do you guys believe Server Meshing will bring to the game stability-wise? If they will just fill servers with NPCs and more players, will it not just be more of the same problems we have today? Quote, open the floodgate of new stuff. We don't really know what it'll bring. Hopefully it brings more players. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing.
That's the big thing. I don't know if it'll do stability, but the hope is that it's, triple, quadruple, quintuple the amount of players in an area is the hope. But
there's also like a bunch of stuff just fell off my desk. A Ghost is apparently a 600i enjoyer or something. The other tech from server meshing that has given us like PES and giving us server errors and stuff like that is a stability fix, though obviously it's still not in the space where you want it to be. But we already have a much better system than we did a couple of years ago. But pretty much what Mike said, it's not as much about the stability as it is about just maximizing servers, maximizing players, actually seeing players more often in the game. It's an MMO. So, yeah.
Fingers crossed this one works. So, yep.
Yeah.
All right, we'll bring in our next caller. It is Maxim, aka Stempec. I know him as Stempec. So,
Stempec, how you doing?
Can you hear us, buddy?
Hello. I needed to mute the stream.
Yep.
No worries. Howdy.
What do you want to talk about today?
Yeah, I've been quite a time in the queue. Need to remember what I.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. No.
I thought
worries.
today's show was going to be an hour. We hit 2 again.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's nice for the viewers, I think. Yeah. The first talk with Morph was very interesting when he talked about that the interest in Star Citizen is going down.
Yeah.
Based on the YouTube numbers. And
not just YouTube, those backers numbers too.
Yeah, true. And I was in my head, I kind of expected this. When we see what there's to do in Star Citizen, what features we got, what new stuff is here, what interesting stuff is here. And I mean, with the current product, what interest in the product do we expect? I mean, everyone has his nice ship now, and everyone is kind of happy to have a ship. But the ship still has no meaning. No.
I'll also say value. For a lot of more veteran backers, I'm not calling myself a veteran backer necessarily, but I've been playing for long enough that I remember wipes every patch, every month, basically, right? There's now fatigue from progressing the same thing over and over and over again, and never reaching a spot where you're content. It's cool, I have to do the exact same thing I did last patch, next patch sort of thing. That is something that I would hope would alleviate with not soon, but a 1.0. I imagine there's other people in the same spot.
No wipe announced in 3.24 as well.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friends and me recently played GTA 5 a bit. And we played a couple weeks, and then we noticed you can unlock these nice vehicles. It's actually quite like Star Citizen. You get money to unlock vehicles, and then you use the vehicles to get money, and then unlock more vehicles. And after 2 weeks, we noticed this pattern. We unlock some new vehicles, they are neat, but what's the catch? Why should we stay? Yeah. And with Star Citizen, they still need to solve this. We currently have a game, even from the design, it's we grind to get stuff to better grind. But we still grind to grind.
I mean, that sounds like a good MMO to me, but it's still
but it's not meaningful progression.
Exactly, it's not a good grind. It's
I mean,
I'm doing exactly that in another game right now. Not right now. It's not. I swear it's not open right now. I swear. It's not. It's
Mike's been high sec mining this entire time.
Yeah. No, I don't live
but
in
still,
high sec
you unlock different playstyles. You unlock different things. When you look at New World, how the player numbers drowned because they noticed, I got a nice new pickaxe. Now I can mine some different ore to unlock a new pickaxe, to mine different ore to unlock a new pickaxe, and cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's why New World craters every time there's a new patch after like a month. I think there's a lot more to be said about. But like New World is a very different beast, and there's a lot of issues with that game. So I don't know if necessarily the progression is like the better example there. But I do still understand what you're trying to say there.
Yeah. I think it's again about progression, but I think when I look at old games like a Gothic series or even like the old Battlefront games and stuff, it wasn't about unlocking always. It was what we all like the stuff we already had was fun, and we have this in Star Citizen.
No,
right now.
For some people, some people argue yes, but most people will argue no.
I mean, mining is different and can be fun. Like the fighting game can also be fun. But there's still something missing. And to get back to Morphologis, I still think, like when I see the current product and what they delivered this year, I when he opened the funding dashboard and showed us how much revenue Star Citizen made or how much pledge they got, I was actually amazed that they are still on schedule, because I thought, like, what the hell are people buying right now? Like,
the completely overpowered Hornet F7A Mark II, you know, things like that.
But didn't they bought it in Q1, Q2? Or when did it release?
Well,
Q2,
I think we were still kind of hoping on 4.0. What was the big, what was big stuff for IAE?
This year's or last year's?
This year's.
You mean Invictus?
Invictus, excuse me.
The big boy, the Drake big boy, was a huge one.
Ironclad, yeah.
Cool concept.
Yeah. And then I forget what came out, which is not a good sign.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, what the hell are people buying? I mean, we're again talking about a concept ship.
Yeah.
The one thing we remember is a concept, so like JPEGs and an idea.
I really liked that idea, though. That was the only idea I've liked in a while, was the Ironclad.
I think it's blatant power creep. I mean,
I liked it. I liked it specifically from its shape, because I've run way too much cargo to know that ramps are fucking stupid, and I wanted something that was shaped exactly the way that is. That and the Galaxy. I think it's the Galaxy.
It's very raft like in like real world actual utility, and it makes sense, you know.
Yep. That's why I liked it so much. Is it
why I said it's power creep is because it has a quad size 5 turret.
Yeah, it is
like
power creep.
The assault variant, and I think that's a Redeemer strapped onto a cargo ship.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. Yeah. I hope it's not power creep in that they just make it really bad for solo players, and then it'll be fine. Sure. But yeah,
we'll see.
I
would say last topic, and then we'll get going for you.
Yeah, I just think that's this time of the year again. I mean, we kind of always have around these months these conversations.
Yep.
I think we already had last year. I think we talked about the same
we didn't only have one patch last year, though.
Yeah.
It certainly felt like it.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 or something. Last thing, my guess for 4.0, I think it's we maybe see something after CitizenCon, not a release, but like a new tech preview or something, where they see, hey, you can actually play it. It exists.
Yeah.
Like last year.
Yeah.
And then the release probably January or February, maybe even later. I mean,
maybe
with what it still has to get to
we haven't tested
Ibukati, PTU, and it isn't really tested.
Yeah. Who knows? We haven't tested it once, so we have no idea.
And I expect it to take a really long time to test it again, because they have all the features in it. They need to work together with like technical stuff and so on. This will take time, and I think it will take like from now a bit under half a year, which is not so promising, but it is what it is. I'm
not gonna make any guesses, because again, we're telling CIG to stop doing it, so I don't see the point in doing it myself. But in the end, it's at this point, if you're going to delay it this much, for maybe Morph is right. Tell us why you're delaying it so much, because then you can point out the fact that, well, all the other features that aren't and shouldn't be as broken should come in a better state. So, the delay is you could turn your delay into a positive. Like, yeah, man, it took us forever to get the tech, but look at the gameplay we were able to provide to you because it was so delayed, right? The only thing they've done with that so far is, oh man, look at how long it took for us to get hangers in. Here's a search bar. That's the only time they've used that.
Don't be ragging
so
on the
far.
search bar. Best
Fuck the
feature
search
implemented in the last 5 years.
Fuck that thing. Who cares? It's you already have a filter. You're fine. It needed better functionality, and we got a search bar. So I don't know.
I mean, you said last point, but what I wanted to mention, what I just remembered, is like the how they talk to us, and you just notice how it gets less and less and less. Even from bar citizens, you get less infos. You're like.
I mean, I feel like Jared's literally talking down to the backers now, which like they deserve, but at the same time, like that individual deserves it. And I get this too, because I know how people talk about me and think about me. So maybe you should take a lesson from that. It's really fun to shit on people sometimes, and people will laugh about it. But then there's other people who are sitting on the side and looking at them and going, wow, that's really shitty what he just did, or whatever, right? And when you're shitting on backers when things are bad, it's a really bad look, I would say,
Yes.
And like telling us not to doom and, oh, that doesn't do any good and things like that. Yeah, well, you're right. It's like, let us vent, man. This isn't okay. You're venting. Why can't I? So it's
this was what Asmund is like saying in all his recent videos. Like the customer is like, his voice is the most important thing.
Yep.
You can't tell a customer what he has to think.
Yeah.
He thinks what he thinks, and he tells it to you, and you need to act accordingly, and not the other way around.
Nope.
And I think
we're not customers though; we're backers, so we're fucked. It was basically like when I worked at the casino. They would be like, "The customer's always right," and I would turn at them and I would say, "You're not a customer; you're a guest. Get out." We let you be here, so now you can leave. Because in situations like that, there are situations where you're a customer and there's situations where you're not. I don't think they look at us as customers, unfortunately.
I don't know, but like when they need money, they sure do. Like,
Jesus, sorry, there's so much wind outside. I feel like something's gonna fall over. God damn.
But all right, Stempec, we're gonna let you go and we're gonna call it a show here. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Nice. We enjoy it.
We appreciate it.
Your one more was 3 more, so it's all we like having you.
But one more thing.
All right, Stempec, have a good one, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a nice weekend.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
Oh, he said bye as I was cutting him off. But yeah, that's our show. Not too doomy, not too bad, but doomy enough.
I mean, I have a good way to end this, and I was thinking about it throughout the entire podcast, which also is like another thing that makes this week just like feel a little bit better about something. Because I did feel a little bit better about something with CIG this week, which was when Gavin Rothery was talking on his episode of ISC right at the end. You can tell this dude is obsessed with working at CIG and loves it, loves every second of it, right? And that's where all of my hope is with the devs, and when they're actually talking about things that they have enjoyed making and the features that they like. Obviously there is something that stops a lot of that from ever releasing and all this stuff, but there was a positive that I had.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good ISC. It just had nothing to do with the current situation in any of the games, right? Like the best ISC for me was the guns. That sneak peek gun episode. That shit was awesome.
Yeah,
but this was still good. Like it's good in its own way. you know?
Mm.
But yeah, he just felt super genuine and that he loved his job and he loves what he does and he loves the way we have taken to his work, you know, like artists just want their work enjoyed and we certainly enjoy it. So that was cool. But
Yeah.
on a positive, it's not doom and gloom. It may feel that way right now, but there are definitely things they can do to get out of this rut. And I think they continuously remind us that they're working on a lot of those things, economy stuff. We know that there's going to be a Master Modes update happening and shit like that. So there are things that are there's gears turning that for whatever reason we haven't seen too much of yet. And there's opportunities for this stuff to get better. It's not fun now. It's not going to be fun for a while. And but it just because we know that it could get better doesn't mean that it feels good right now. And I think what I want to end with is what Morph said is, you know, the idea of discrediting people for feeling a certain way. We as a community need to stop doing that. It's why people like Shroud called you a cult, and that kind of stuff is never healthy. We talk about how we're the best community ever and things like that. The best community ever doesn't do things like that. They just don't.
Yeah.
And we need to stop doing that shit. You know, I don't see any point in, and it's why I when people act like that, I act the same way right back. But but in general, I think we need to just be like, oh, yeah, dude, I get it. You're mad, and you should be. Period. Done. All right. And then you know the meme of like, so anyway, you know, like you know, you're mad. Who cares? We're all mad. But if people want to blow some steam, let them blow some steam. Like, holy shit. Especially from like CIG and what Jared's been saying. It's time to just let people say what they feel. But I don't know. I think we should just not forget to maybe answer the call next week.
I was gonna say, don't forget to vote for the good ships. I actually don't remember. It should be right now. Don't forget to vote for the ground vehicle. I think it is. I don't know. Anyways,